It is the Jews of Sicily. This is the 15th century. What do you see here? You see here that there are some surnames. So, for instance, sacerdoti, coin, which can change to sacerdoti. Pisano. It's not fixed totally, but you start having some surnames in the 15th century in Italy. And then, so when do these surnames? But this was Sicily, remember, which was under Spanish domination. So they had, and the Spanish Jews, they had surnames. In reality, in fact, the system of Italian surnames becomes, so Jews in Italy have surname from the 16th century on, from the 16th century. In the 16th century, Jews have finally surnames. Which surnames do they take? Italian Jews, mostly from the place where they originated, they were coming from. And this is also held by the expulsions of the Jews by the Pope. Because what happens in Roma and Ancona? That in Roma you have thousands of Jews converging into Rome, to the ghetto, from places outside, let's say in the Lazio region outside Rome, and thousands of Jews converging into ghetto of Ancona from the Marche region, for instance. People, Umbria region, which is between Lazio and Rome, they could go both places. So you have that all these Jews converging into Rome, they acquire the surname of the place they were coming from. So you have lots of Jews in Rome which are called Sermoneta, which is a town, small town close to Rome. Di Cori, from the town of Cori. Di Nepi, from the town of Nepi. Di Segni, from the town of Segni. Priverno, from the town, Piperno, from the town of Priverno, and so on. These are the most common names you find among Jews in Europe, and they become surnames in the 16th century. The same phenomenon in Ancona, but the surnames are different because in fact they are the surnames of the places where they were expelled from, and they go to the ghetto of Ancona. So which were the most common surnames in Ancona? Ascoli, the most common of them all. Fano, the town close to Ancona. Recanati, Camerino, Cingoli, Montefiore, and so on and so on. So that's the surnames become finally also the Jews have surnames with a delay with the rest of the Italian population, but they all so if you have some Italian Jewish origin and so on, it is extremely difficult if you have a name of a geographical town to go further than the 16th century, because before that you will probably find what we saw in Recanati. It was simply a name, son X, son of Y. It becomes impossible. In Spain, on the contrary, it is very possible. And you can go up to the 11th century, 10th century, and so on, much earlier. But for Italian Jews, usually, unless you have a very special surname, if you have a geographical origin surname, it becomes the Italian geographical origin, it becomes difficult to go beyond the 16th century. So let's look a little bit at the slides. If you look at slides 9, it is called Sephardic main Sephardic centers. These are the main Sephardic center of the Sephardic diaspora in Europe, which include also Venice, Pisa, Livorno. So, for instance, if some of you have Sephardic origin, and maybe some of your ancestors came from Livorno, it is because, in fact, Livorno was a Sephardic community trading with other Sephardic community and so on. Slide 10. Look at the destination of the commercial. This was a commercial firm, Ergas and Silveira from Livorno, very rich Jews from Livorno. Look at where they were sending their commercial letters. You have, if you look at the right, which is Venice, first of all, because they were in Italy, Venice, Genova, and Florence. But look, this is normal because this was training. Look after that. What do we have? We have Amsterdam, Sephardic center, London, and Aleppo, where also there was a Sephardic group, Marseille. So in fact, you see that the trade from this company, or you can find Gibraltar, 15 of them, and so on. So this is where you can see the places where the Sephardic Jews of Livorno were trading with, and of course, through this trading, sometimes members were moving from Livorno. Livorno enters into a period of crisis later on, so many people leave, and sometimes they establish subsidiaries and so on in these other places. This is the origin of sometimes some of your ancestors here. If you move on, okay, you have the genealogical tree of the Erga Silveira family, and I circle. You see, one member they moved to Aleppo, da Livorno Aleppo. So it means that they create also subsidiaries in other places, sending some family members to these other places. Slide 11. It's about Tuscany. You can see where the Jewish community in Tuscany, what I was saying before, usually in many small places in Tuscany. Next slide. This is important. Look at the wills of Jews from Livorno and Pisa, which are registered in London. Someone from Livorno was dying. Jews from Livorno was dying, and they were registering their will in London. Why? Because of course they had commercial interest in London. So you can see here the name, the surname, and the name of those Jews from Livorno and Pisa, which are registered in London because they had commercial interest, probably a subsidiary, and so on. So the first column, it's the surname. I don't know, maybe you recognize some surname.
Sure. Does that mean lower taxes?
Sorry?
Lower taxes. Did they have to pay tax on their property?
Some Jews were dying in Livorno, and they were leaving money, property, and so on. Okay. Now, if they had some commercial interest in Livorno, or maybe a family member in Livorno, it was good practice to register in London. Sorry, it was good practice to register the will in London, because it meant that either there were some family members in London, or they had property in London. So, and this you find in column 1 the surnames of the Jews from Livorno, dying in Livorno, which had family members or commercial property in London. I'm not sure about the tax issue, but if they had property in London, the will had to be registered, because of course, you see the point, yeah?